Welcome to the project tonight. The coalition is no more, as the Nationals say see you later to the Liberal Party. So what's really behind the bombshell rocking Aussie politics?
Also, chaos on our streets brings a city to a standstill. So what's got our farmers and fireys up in arms?
Aussie icon Nicole Kidman and White Lotus star Bartlett join us.
And Project OG Carrie Bickmore is dropping by to celebrate a very special anniversary.
We are live from the land of the cooler nations tonight. Would you please welcome Nick Cody and Kate Langbrook?
Wow, what a day.
I'm sorry, you can tell Sam's not here. You didn't get stuck into the person sitting in this chair.
I felt sorry for him.
That is so much worse. Tee off.
Now we're off and running. Let's check tonight's top stories. And Australian politics has entered a new era tonight, with the National Party ending its coalition with the Liberals. Nat's leader, David Littleproud, says the party made the call as a matter of principle. The sticking points for them are nuclear, regional infrastructure and the powers to break up the big supermarkets. Both Littleproud and Liberals leader Suzanne Lee have described the outcome as disappointing.
Yes, politics is the brutal game of arithmetic, but the way that you get numbers is to stand for something. And that's what the National Party's doing today.
The Nationals' door remains open and our door remains open. And we look forward with optimism to rejoining at some point in the future.
And knocking on our door is news.com.au's political editor, Sam Maiden. Sam, nice to see you. How are these two meant to win an election without each other?
Well, I think that it's not time to set fire to your hair. You know, I think that some people are becoming a little exuberant, a little anxious, a little freaked out by this. I don't think it is quite necessarily as catastrophic as it sounds, because the reality is, in the unlikely possibility that the coalition is ready to govern at the next election, given, you know, how many seats they're on, that's going to be a pretty tough ask. But let's just say it could happen, because we've just had a pretty wild election 2 seconds ago. The reality is that they would form a coalition to govern, right? So, look, you know, it's just like Labor in the past has done deals with the Greens, you know, or the crossbench. It's that sort of thing. So I don't think that we should think that they are divorced forever. It is not a Taylor Swift, we're never, ever getting back together situation. It is more of a, you know, your parents have run off with the nice man who collects the bins in the 1970s, but maybe we'll come back to the family home later.
Really?
So it's just a little break.
Wow.
It's just a little break. Is this a smart thing to do you think?
Look, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, because I think that the Liberal Party has a big, hard job, a knockdown, rebuild job ahead of them to really get straight what their philosophy is and how they're going to interact in the modern era, and how they're going to tackle a bunch of issues. There has been a claim, well, not really a claim, I think it's a fact, that sometimes the tail has been wagging the dog. And so every time the Liberal Party tries to move on energy policy or climate change targets, the Nationals kind of, you know, lose it and start, you know, Barnaby Joyce starts running around talking about the price of pork cutlets, which are quite expensive. And, you know, nothing ever gets done. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. There's also some strategic reasons why it's a problem in terms of, you know, less staff, less money, less resources, running election campaigns, sure. But in terms of actually getting their philosophical fight happening and being able to do that freely within the Liberal Party without Barnaby Joyce, as adorable as he is, poking around the corner with his Akubra and causing trouble, I think it might not be a bad thing.
I don't know. All sorts of things happen on a break. Just ask Ross and Rachel.
No,
you know?
it's true.
Yeah,
it's true.
Exactly.
Hey, a nation needs...
It can be quite exciting.
Well, I know you're excited about it.
Yeah.
But if a nation needs a strong opposition, how much tougher will this make running a strong opposition for the Liberals?
Well, it might make it tougher, but it might also make it more robust, because you're going to have lots of different voices. Like, I think that question time could be a little interesting. It could be a little bit more like the Senate, because what is going to happen is, rather than dole out all these front bench positions to people in the Nationals like they have, it's party time in the Liberal. Everyone is going to get a ride on the pony. Everyone is going to get... I mean, like, they'll probably be stopping people in the street and giving them front bench portfolios, because there'll be nobody left. But the Nationals will still be able to ask questions questions in Parliament in the same way that the Greens, the crossbench, do now. So it's going to be a little bit different. For people that don't like things being a bit different, it may be a little confronting. They may need a little quiet time, a little reassurance. But I think that it's all going to be okay in the end.
One of the things Susan Lee cited is that there was a disagreement apparently about cabinet solidarity. So basically, the Nats, I gather, refused to say they were going to toe coalition policy if they were in the cabinet. That says to me the divisions here are quite deep. So even though I understand there is the potential for them to get back together, can you foresee how they would do that? Like, how could they actually get to the point of bridging that divide?
Well, I think that is a legitimate point. I mean, the issues that, they've come a cropper over were basically 4 policy issues, the chief amongst them being that the Nationals wanted to lock the Liberals into agreeing to nuclear power going forward, or at least dumping the legal prohibition and allowing private sector people to enter the region. They also wanted to, divest supermarkets and sort of blow up supermarkets, not strictly speaking, blow them up, but you know what I mean. And so, I think that I can see where the Liberal Party is coming from in saying, no, hang on a minute, we're going to have a big root and branch reform thing here. You're not going to lock us into all these things now. I think that the Nationals' requests were kind of ridiculous. And also, they were saying to them, we reserve the right to be able to cross the floor whenever we want. And Susan was like, well, I'm not down with that. And so the rest is history. But I mean, I think the Liberals definitely feel that the Nationals wanted to break up and they went into these negotiations looking for reasons to do so. They've got their reasons. Now they've broken up. We'll see how it goes.
Wow. Yeah, little crowd, give the hoodie and the CDs back. Sam Megan, thanks for your time.
I feel like there's a lot of your autobiography coming out in the course of that interview. Everything okay?
I've never done a drive-by.
Okay.
Now, in equally important news, Sunrise weather presenter Katie Brown was in New South Wales this morning and she had some massive news in the world of mugs.
And you are going to show me how to make a mug because mugs are in, doll. Like, they are trending. And look at her work. This one took my fancy, but don't you go to your kitchen and go, what mug am I vibing today? Everyone has their favourite mug.
Thank God mugs are in because I've been drinking tea straight out of the kettle, like a Neanderthal. So, finally, a better vessel.
You can upgrade.
Fancy.
Yeah.
All right, it's time for a break. More Project after this.
Welcome back. We're watching The Project.
Well, great news for homeowners tonight. The 4 big banks have all passed on the RBA's rate cut of 25 basis points in full. As expected, the board dropped the official cash rate to 3.85%. Combined with Feb's rate cut, it means an annual saving of about $2,500 on the average home loan. The board even considered a 0.5% cut, but held off given global jitters around tariffs.
So the cautious approach we have taken has got us to this point where inflation is now below 3% and employment is holding up.
Residents in northern New South Wales are being ordered to evacuate after severe storms sparked flash flooding across the region. The deluge has affected the Hunter and the mid-north coast, from Newcastle up to Nambucca Heads. The bad weather is also expected to linger for several days.
I got the emergency text at 10:30 and I was gone by 11:15. My next door neighbour is with me who turns 99 today, but she'll never forget it.
It's the baby news the world has been waiting for. There's a new addition to the Peppa Pig family. Mummy and Daddy Pig have welcomed a daughter born at 5:34 this morning, and they've gone all out announcing the arrival in royal style, complete with a town crier.
Oh.
Oh, goodness.
And George have a baby sister. And her name is Evie. Long live Evie Pig!
Oh, wow.
I mean, the town crier is very pink, isn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
Did they cast him?
It was a gender reveal.
Yeah,
That's all I can go with.
I thought it was Daddy.
You Daddy added it in.
Is the success of the bodice-ripping period drama like Bridgerton or Outlander creating unrealistic relationship goals? A British survey has found of the women who watch them, 39% aged 16 to 34 say the shows do shape their romantic expectations. Psychologists say it's about escaping reality and that despite modern sensibilities, many women still want a handsome hero to whisk them off into the sunset.
Who doesn't want a handsome hero?
Why
my
you
wife.
us?
What do you mean, do you know who are going, you know what I'd really like? An ugly rotter. Everyone wants a handsome hero.
No, but you're not meant to say that these days.
What are you supposed to say,
I don't know.
Waleed?
Well, you're not familiar with this discourse, that is
Oh, I'm
somehow...
very familiar with
When
it.
Prince Charming rescues the princess, she's
Yes.
supposed to rescue him right back, a la Pretty Woman, remember?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Well, I'm actually writing a romance.
Oh, here we go.
What a ripper.
Well, you know that with romance novels, there's two types. There's what's known as open door, in which you get all the graphic details, or there's closed door, which you'd be familiar with in your own romantic life, Cody.
Sealed section.
No, in which there's a moment they kiss and then they wake up the next morning.
Oh, boring.
Yeah, what is it?
Well, hang on.
What are you doing?
Well, I
don't want the
know. I don't think I can
No, I
write
know.
open
You can write the
door.
details.
I don't think.
It's not open or closed door. It's Kate Langbrook. It's doors being kicked off the hinges. A new type of romance.
Maybe I'm like a coalition and I'm leaving both doors open.
Now, to the US, where President Trump handled Joe Biden's cancer news with nothing but grace and class. He definitely didn't get the diagnosis wrong and then make it all about himself.
I think it's very sad, actually. I'm surprised that it wasn't, the public wasn't notified a long time ago, because to get to stage 9, that's a long time. I just had my physical. You saw that. You saw the results of that particular test. I think that test is standard to pretty much anybody getting a physical. I did a very complete physical, including cognitive tests. I'm proud to announce I aced it. I got them all right.
They put a finger in my ass. They said it was a beautiful ass. They said it was the best ass they've ever seen. If I did have prostate cancer, it would have been a higher stage, not invented yet, stage 15.
You know what, fellas? You can just get a blood test now, so go and get checked. You're watching The Project. Back after this. Well, thousands of fed-up farmers and volunteer firefighters have brought Melbourne's CBD to a standstill today as they rallied against Victoria's controversial emergency services levy. They travelled in convoy, blockading Parliament with fire trucks on the state government's budget day, claiming the tax on ratepayers will push rural communities to the wall. The levy is set to take effect July 1st.
It's huge impact on us. The cost is going to be massive, not to mention this year is the driest year on record. We're in a massive drought. It couldn't have come at a worse time.
Well, Victorian farmer Rob Armstrong was at the protest. He's with us now to talk about it. Rob, you don't often see these sorts of scenes from farmers. How angry are they right now?
Well, I actually think we're probably past angry.
Right.
We're just to the stage we're just hurting that much that we're past angry. And it's really hard to imagine that when you're in a drought that's looking like it's going to break 1914 records, that we're trying to keep everything alive, we're trying to keep all our stock alive, and it looks like we're going to get belted with a ridiculous tax on a tax that we're already paying.
I mean, you're a sixth-generation farmer,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
You probably want to be back on your land rather than sitting in the big smoke on this desk.
The last 6 months has been a fair slog. And it'd be so much nicer not to be here fighting this. But unfortunately, we haven't got a choice because we're actually not going to survive these taxes. It's getting to the stage where the farmer actually will not survive these taxes.
What sort of government picks a fight with farmers?
Well, usually they think that's a really easy target because 0.089 of 1% is the population of farmers in Australia. So we don't even hit the 1% mark. So when it comes to elections and everything, we don't count because they get in regardless of whether we vote or not. So they can actually just do what they like because we're so irrelevant. But unfortunately, I think today has shown they've actually woken up something that they've never seen happen before. Farmers are united as one. And when farmers are united as one, they are the most powerful body in Australia. Farmers produce 100% of the food. If we all say, sorry mate, we're going to have a week off, we're not going to produce any food anymore, well, the supermarket shelves will go empty. And they'll realise toilet paper wasn't actually that important.
The Victorian Premier says this levy is the rate that emergency services has asked for, they're saying if they don't raise this money via the levy, where else will they get the money from? What do you say to that?
Well, do you know what? It's not my problem. We've already paid for it. All the things she's asking for in the 8 different bodies the money's got to go into, we've all, sitting here, every person here has already paid for this in consolidated revenue. So now it's another tax on top of a tax that we've already paid for. The fire levies, it was fairly reasonable what we were paid to run the emergency service and everything. But it's actually got out of hand how it's run, and they're just wasting so much money that it's just actually hard to imagine how you could waste so much money. If they used the money wisely, we wouldn't need this. We'd be doing a really good job with what it was.
So their argument is that it's getting more expensive because of natural disasters. You mentioned drought, but there's, fire, that means floods as well, and so on. They say every dollar raised by this will go to emergency services, and that the CFA, they use CFA information to identify who would get the new trucks or whatever. Do you think that's a reasonable approach for the government to take? Why not?
Well, for bushfires, for example, rural bushfires, nearly all bushfires in rural Victoria are not put out by CFA. They're put out by farmers in their own private units. There is one CFA truck to 45 private units. And those private units carry nearly twice as much water as a CFA truck. We put the fires out. They come along later on, and not being disrespectful to the CFA, because they've got to get people to man those trucks. But usually in country Victoria, nearly all those trucks are manned by farmers as well. So they're either in the fire truck or they're on their own units protecting all people's assets, protecting people's lives. And we just do it all the time. We never think about it. We never think about our risk, because that's what you do. You're in the bush. You help everyone. And so if someone came to the Langy Logan fire shed and said, I'll give you 20 new trucks, we had a big bushfire, there'd be 20 new trucks still sitting there, and they'd never have left the shed.
Right, because that's not the problem.
Because it's not the problem.
Yeah.
And there's no one to operate them.
Yeah. There's no denying your passion and just how much it means to you, Rob. We can see that from sitting so close to you.
Victoria's... this is going to send Victoria bankrupt, what this levy will do. Every rural council in Victoria will be bankrupt within 2 years if this levy goes ahead and we have to pay the levy. Yeah. It is that serious.
Rob, thanks.
Sorry.
No, don't apologise at all. We're unfortunately out of time. I'd love to keep chatting.
Sorry.
Thanks very much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Love our farmers. You are watching The Project. Back after this.
Back watching The Project.
Well, tonight, fresh details in the Leongatha mushroom murder trial, with footage revealed of the alleged killer the day after the fatal beef Wellington lunch.
An accused killer's phone records back in the spotlight. Digital forensic science expert Dr Matthew Sorrell taking the stand again after testifying yesterday that Erin Patterson's phone spent time in the regional Victorian towns of Lock and Outram in the days after death cap mushrooms were reported in those areas. Today, the defence casting doubt on the accuracy of the phone records.
The data can't exclude alternative propositions?
Yes, that's right. Data allows for the possibility of being in the area, nothing to indicate there was a specific visit to an address.
As the detective tasked with investigating the alleged murders took the stand, the court was shown CCTV footage of Erin Patterson at a service station the day after the fatal lunch. The footage showing Patterson walking into the bathroom and leaving 9 seconds later, despite telling hospital staff she was experiencing vomiting and diarrhoea. Erin Patterson has pleaded not guilty to all charges.
Well, Erin Pearson is The Age's crime and justice reporter, and she was in Morwell in court today. Erin, we saw, the court saw footage of Erin Patterson at a service station. What more can you tell us about what was shown?
Yeah, the jury today heard from their first prosecution witness, who was from the homicide squad, a Detective Senior Constable Tran, and he took the jury through some CCTV and CCTV stills of Erin Patterson arriving at a service station, a BP service station at a place called Caldermead, which is not too far from Morwell, the jury were told. Now, in this footage, which was recorded on the 30th of July 2023, the jury heard that Erin Patterson arrived in a red MG SUV and got out of the driver's side, walked through some sliding doors into this service station and made her way straight to a back area. And that back area there was a toilet area. The CCTV showed Erin Patterson enter the toilet. She was in there for about 9 seconds before she left and walked back into the main part of the service station. There, guys, she purchased some items and went up to pay for them before turning around and a few minutes later leaving and getting back in the car. But yes, that information was brought to the jury from a detective from the homicide squad.
There was more today on the mobile phone towers being used to pinpoint Erin's location. What more did we learn from that?
Yeah, we heard a little bit more from Dr. Matthew Sorrell. Now, he's the cell tower expert who the jury also heard from yesterday. And in his evidence, he was asked to look at 4 years' worth of Erin Patterson's phone records. And really that came down to 3 particular dates, the 28th of April 2023 and May 22nd, 2023, just a few months before the fatal lunch. And in those areas, the prosecution alleged that death cap mushrooms were known to exist. Now, today we heard from Colin Mandy SC, who is Erin Patterson's defence barrister, and he really challenged the expert evidence from Dr. Sorrell, particularly trying to establish how accurate the data really is. And we heard during his evidence that cell tower data sort of pings off different cell towers depending on where you are. But Sorrell conceded today that yes, the evidence doesn't show you exactly where a person is. It really shows where your phone is pinging off, and in regional areas they can be quite far apart. And he agreed with Colin Mandy, the defence barrister, that in fact you might ping off multiple different towers in an area, even if you went outside your home to your front yard or backyard or upstairs to downstairs. It's not really a fine art. He can see the data, he can look through the data, and it gives a bit of an indication of where a person might have been. But he did concede that it was possible that Erin Patterson's phone didn't travel to those exact postcodes of Lock and Outram, but possibly nearby areas.
Erin Pearson, appreciate your time. Thank you. In other news, Perth's Jack Della Maddalena is enjoying some well-earned downtime after his historic UFC win in Montreal earlier this month. He claimed the welterweight title from now former champ Bilal Muhammad and joined fellow Aussie Alexander Volkanovski as a UFC champion. It's the first time 2 Aussies have held UFC belts at the same time.
Feels good. Australia, we got 3 of these babies. Let's go.
We shall go. Wow. Jack Della Maddalena joins us now. Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, Jack, congratulations, mate. And what a bloodbath this was. Here is the roll call. You are the first UFC champion from WA, first Australian UFC welterweight champion, the 3rd UFC champion in Australian history. Has all that sunk in?
It's slowly sinking in. That was it was a bloodbath, but it was all his blood. It hasn't. Yeah, it is sinking in slowly. It's good to be home.
Hey, Australians really punch above their weights when it comes to the UFC. What do you put that down to?
Say that again?
Australia seems to punch above its weight when it comes to the UFC. What's that down to?
I mean, I think it's just Australians competitive. I feel like there is a bit of a fighting culture amongst young Australians. So, and obviously competitive. We're pretty good across the board at sports. So I guess it's just a good combination.
We're just a country of maddos.
Yeah.
Loose units. Now, you say fighting culture from a younger age. I've got 2 little boys, 6 and 3. If one of those is going to be a fighter, it's the 3-year-old. Now, Jack, I have a theory. The best UFC fighters, like yourself, have older brothers because they're fighting bigger competition from a very young age with no rules. So when they get to fight someone their own size with a ref, they're like, this is the easiest fight of all time.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I was always chasing Josh. He was always giving me good beatings, so I was used to taking them. But yeah, I couldn't have done it without him.
Oh. Hey, you've been calling for the next title fight to be in Australia. Any word from Dana White on that?
No news yet. Obviously, that'd be the dream to defend it, but no news yet. But if it's not this time, then I'm sure next year we'll bring a big Australian title fight to Australia. But we'll see what happens.
Now, up next for you, Jack, you'll need to defend the title against Islam Makhachev, the UFC's #1 pound-for-pound fighter, another fighter with an older brother. Be honest, you're a bit nervous?
I feel good. It's a pound-for-pound #1, so it's the biggest fight in the company. Volk did good work against him. I'm inspired by Volk, but I think I can get it done.
Now, I've got to ask, you are a Perth boy. What's scarier, the UFC Octagon or Northbridge on a Friday night?
I mean, both have their own things about them, but it is something special going into the Octagon. It has it has this very unique feeling.
I really thought you were going to say Northbridge was special.
That's a very nice belt, Jack. Jack, congratulations. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Good job. Impractical, I reckon, but good. Good looking belt. All right, that is it from us for now. We'll see you after this.
This is the project.
It's no secret that Nicole Kidman and Murray Bartlett are two of our greatest talents, and I recently sat down with the pair and learned they're also incredibly fun. Well, what a treat. Nicole, Murray, welcome virtually to Australia.
Thank you. I'm a big fan of you. I think you're awesome.
Yeah, so cool and funny and sharp and smart.
Wow. Well, keep going. We have 10 minutes. The floor's yours.
Yeah, let's talk about you. Anyway, back to the point.
No, seriously, let's talk about them, because Nicole Kidman and Murray Bartlett are two of our biggest stars.
I am so very sorry for all the confusion. Here we go.
Now the pair are joining forces for season 2 of 9 Perfect Strangers.
So what brings you here?
Just it's vacation.
Got it.
Nicole reprises her role as Masha.
Welcome, everyone. We can begin.
A wellness guru comes psychedelic therapist who spent most of season 1 quietly drugging the guests at her retreat without their knowledge.
I am gonna fix you.
Something that wasn't all bad.
In 10 days, you will feel happier, healthier, freer.
This time round, you can expect more Masha, more mushrooms, and a whole lot of mayhem.
It is a cleansing of the mind to recharge, to rediscover inspiration.
Oh, God. Are we actually supposed to drink this?
Nicole, I have to ask, congratulations on the second series of 9 Perfect Strangers, but how is this woman not in jail?
Because I'm on the run, I'm very clever, I'm very smart, and I'm able to shapeshift. And I'm very, very good at manipulation.
Yes, I can see that.
Have you seen the whole show?
No, they only gave us the first 4 episodes, so that's all I've seen.
You don't know.
No, I don't.
You don't know what happens to Mush.
All right, well, I look forward to all being revealed. I don't think it would be giving any spoilers, though, to point out that there's some hallucination stuff happening in this show. And as I was watching it, I couldn't help but wonder, imagine acting that. What was it like in the room with all that going on?
It's pretty wild, actually, because anything goes.
Yeah.
With any performance, you hope that there will be freedom, so people experiment and try things. But when you're doing a show that's dealing with altered realities and hallucinogenics, there's probably more freedom. There's nothing entertaining about just watching people kind of get high.
Yeah.
That's like, at some point, that's boring. So you need to have the through line and the storyline that's sort of pulling you through. When we did the first season, this show was considered so outrageous because the idea of microdosing or any of those, the terminology psilocybin was still not a word that had been used very often in the conversation. It's now used a lot.
Yeah.
So it's really fascinating how Liane Moriarty actually is so ahead of her time.
I've got to say, Murray, looking at some of those scenes, I couldn't help but think, this is what you must have been doing like at NIDA. You know, when you do those sort of exercises where there's just crazy abstract stuff going on? Is that how it felt?
Yeah.
They do?
Yeah, no research necessary. Yeah, just like, hard, cold experience. Yeah, I mean, I guess so. We did do some kooky things at acting school. But interestingly, like this, this show, in a way, because it's this big group of actors and we're all transported together, it felt kind of like theatre camp. And so in those scenes where, people are high or we're all kind of, on psychedelics, we've got this great connection with each other. So you feel kind of safe to kind of let go in those kind of settings. I guess it was good sort of experience to have those sort of animal work and things like that at night.
Animal work. Perfect.
Yeah, animal work. Yes, I was a gazelle.
Still do animal work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as much as we kind of joke about it, and it is. I'd love to see, a show about an acting school and all the crazy stuff that you do. But like, you pull from all sorts of different things, right? Like whatever helps. And sometimes you see an animal, like you're working on a character, and you see like a video of an animal, and you're like, oh my God, there's something there. And it's like, I try not to talk about that stuff too much because it can sound a bit wanky, but like it is what we do actually. And then when you're given the opportunity, like in like a show like this, to unleash some of that stuff and really kind of let go, it's super fun and very exciting. And I think it's underpinned by this kind of joy and sort of like yes and vibe, Using another actor.
Join us.
Mate.
Come on, you want to check in?
Sure,
I have
yes,
a feeling. I can tell you're kind of on
I know. I think that's what you're angling towards.
I can tell.
Yeah, that's me.
I'm like vibing you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
There's something going on here.
Season 3?
You're going to get an invite from Masha. You just wait.
Yes. All right, I love it. I'm being told I'm out of time, unfortunately. But
yeah, but you're willful, I think. So you're disobeying.
Well, I can keep going if you like.
Really, you'll get in trouble. We don't want you to get in trouble.
I don't want to get in trouble either, and it's probably for the best, actually, because I was just going to tell Murray off for turning down Neighbours, but now I'm out of time. So.
Did you turn down Neighbours?
I did, and I regret it.
Yeah.
I regret it. I just come out of like acting school, and I was kind of like, I was, a bit pretentious. I don't know that I was pretentious, but I had pretentious aspirations.
All right. Well, look, on behalf of Channel 10, Murray, I hereby forgive you. Thank you both for speaking to me. It was lovely to speak to you, and thanks so much for your time.
Thank you too.
Bye.
Love it. Yep. Working on my tortoise. You can watch season 2 of 9 Perfect Strangers on Prime Video from Thursday.
Now, today, Nationals MP Kevin Hogan addressed journalists about the coalition split. Now, is it just me, or does it sound like Kev is talking about something a little closer to home?
We've all broken up in a relationship that's been important to us, and very often, more often than not, you get back together and you join back together with more clarity and more focus about what the relationship was about, what went wrong with it, about why you broke up, and when you get back together, how it's going to work even better.
I hate to have to say this, Kev. She's not coming back, mate. You've got to move on. You've got to move on.
It's called a breakup because it's broken.
Okay.
I've got the book, I'll send it to you.
I hate the thought of them having makeup sex.
But imagine breaking up with the Liberals and you go out there and you're like, who's available? One Nation. No, One Nation.
All right, we're taking a break just for a few minutes. Come back. See you soon.
Ago, at this very desk, an incredible movement began. Starting small, it's grown beyond anyone's wildest imagination, and it was all thanks to someone very close to our hearts. In 2010, beloved husband and father Greg Lange lost his life to brain cancer. But he would never be forgotten.
He was an incredibly brave man. He was a great dad. He was a great husband. I want to ask anybody that's on TV in Australia tomorrow to whack on a beanie. I want to get the nation talking about brain cancer.
What began as a tribute to Greg and a way to raise awareness of the disease soon became something much bigger.
Wow! I never thought this would actually happen, and it's happening!
In 2015, Carrie Bickmore launched Beanies for Brain Cancer, a fundraising juggernaut determined to help drive much-needed research.
There are so many families around the country affected by brain cancer, and we want them to know that they are not alone.
The response was overwhelming. year after year, more people got involved, buying beanies and hosting fundraisers, doing what they could to help fight this disease. Every 5 hours, an Australian is diagnosed with brain cancer. 4 out of 5 patients will pass away within 5 years of diagnosis. It kills more people under 40 years of age than any other cancer. That's what Beanies for Brain Cancer is aiming to change. In 2021, in collaboration with medical research institute WeHi, it founded the Brain Cancer Centre.
This is a collaborative centre, it's a collaborative initiative, and we hope to end brain cancer as a terminal illness.
Now, Carrie has added yet another challenge. Next month, she and 15 others will head to South Africa, aiming to raise $500,000 by running the legendary Big Five race.
Why is it called the Big Five? Because we're running with the famous Big Five. Lions, leopards, rhinos, elephants and buffalo. No fences, no rivers. Nothing separates us from the African wildlife.
Back in 2015, Carrie had hoped to raise $1 million for brain cancer research. 10 years on, Carrie's Beanies has raised more than $24 million, and there's no sign it's slowing down.
It's a big welcome back to Carrie Bickmore.
Just like Oprah.
Wow. Welcome back. How's it feel? It's been, what, like 3 years?
2.5 or something. I think the only other time I've sat on this end was the day after I won the Logie. And I came on and I was on maternity leave because I had Levy at the time.
Yes.
And I came here and it feels just as weird now as it did
Do you remember the conversation you had with Christopher Pine that night?
Oh, God, no.
Really?
No, I don't. I don't really remember much for that whole time. I just had a baby.
Yeah, no, I know.
Like,
that,
I was
that was
delirious.
actually part of the conversation.
Oh, was it?
Remember his I'm a fixer. Remember that?
Oh, my God, yes. What was that?
Do you want to finish this story?
No.
No, OK. Too rude. We'll leave it there.
Google it.
Hey, speaking of 10 years ago, when you got up at the Logies and
my
you,
beanie here.
you put your beanie. Oh, that's the OG
That's
beanie.
the OG. Yeah.
What were you thinking? What did you think was going to happen?
So I almost didn't do it, and I've spoken about this before. Up until the night before, I didn't know if I was going to win or not, and so I went to a factory out in like an hour out of Melbourne, and I went and got these beanies, 100 of them, and we put them underneath some seats of people at the Logies, and I was like, if I won, then maybe I'll get them to put on one of the beanies. And then I thought, and if I don't win, then there's going to be a whole lot of boxes of beanies under the tables at the Logies. And right before I won, I thought, should I do it? Should I not? Should I do it? Should I not? And I've spoken since then about how I get anxiety, major anxiety, public speaking. And that's a room full of your peers. And I was like, I was so anxious, and you can hear the anxiety in my voice when I did the speech. And now just to see the reaction the next day, and everyone from all the different networks putting their beanies on, and kids going to school in them, like I think back now, and I'm just so thankful.
But also,
so thankful that I did
Carrie, it's $24 million.
Yeah, nearly 25.
Yeah.
And I mean, at the time that night, I didn't want to raise money. I just wanted to raise awareness. And I realised how absurd that is now. I should have tried to raise money because I could have probably raised a lot of money that night. But for me at the time, that wasn't even something I was thinking about. I just wanted people to know about brain cancer. And then as the months rolled on, everyone was like, you should do something. And I naively thought, you know what? I'll try and raise $1 million. That'll cure brain cancer. And I say that joking, but honestly, I didn't know about the research world. And I genuinely thought $1 million was going to make a huge difference in turning the needle for survival rates in brain cancer. And to have gone on to raise nearly $25 million is absolutely mind-blowing. And it's thanks to most of your beautiful viewers here who have bought a beanie and supported our campaign. The campaign wouldn't have had the success if it wasn't for this show. And I feel eternally grateful. And I think the only thing I'm sad about in the decade is that we don't have a cure yet. But we've gone on to establish the Brain Cancer Centre, which again was not something I ever dreamed of. A collaborative research space where we have some of the brightest minds in this country trying to find a cure. We have people on clinical trials. It's mind-blowing, and I implore you to go visit it at some point if you want to see where our money goes. But I look at those researchers now and they say to me, they look at me now and say, there is hope. There's finally hope that if you are sitting in front of your doctor tomorrow, there's a chance they're going to say to you, here is an effective treatment option. We haven't had them in 30 years. Survival rates haven't changed in 30 years. So We're nowhere near it yet, but we've certainly moved the dial, and I'm so proud. And I hope if I'm back here in another 10 years' time, that's hopeful for all of us. If I'm back here in another 10 years' time, that I can say maybe we do have a cure. And so I'm really,
You're a Wonder Woman.
I'm really, really appreciative.
Now, you've been training for this marathon in South Africa. It's known as the Big Five.
Yeah.
There's nothing between you and 5 pretty hectic type of animals.
Yeah.
That's slightly more risky than beanie business.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I've just got just as much preparation as when I brought out the beanies as I do doing this marathon, which is not much. I didn't know what I was getting into. Look, I do these insane things. I think there's something in me that likes to do a physical challenge. I think it's something to do with my mind and the being uncomfortable. And I think it's good for us all to be uncomfortable. It's not easy for me to do. I'm not good at running. I hate running, even though I seem to run a lot. I'm not good at it. I don't wear a watch. I don't know my times. I did Great Wall of China last year to raise money for my foundation, and I can't even tell you what I did it in. I don't know. I just do it because I'm always trying to find new ways to raise awareness and raise money. And there's 15 of famous Australian faces coming to join me. There's AFL stars who are going to whip my butt, I'm sure. There's Sam Wood, who's a fitness man. So I've got him covered, obviously. So there's just a whole lot of beautiful people who are spreading the message, and wish us luck. I told everybody before I got them on board that it was flat. I didn't lie to them. I just assumed it was flat because it's through a safari park. And now that we've looked at the course, there's 2 kilometres of the marathon that they say is even unwalkable. It's so hard.
Well, thankfully you're running.
And there's like soft sand. I've done no soft sand training. There's anyway, it's fine. I figure I want to not get killed by the animals, so it'll make me run fast.
Now, I understand Tommy Little is also running the marathon. Now,
well, he's run the Antarctic Marathon, so surely he's...
So now he's doing a hot one. You know the old saying, you don't have to outrun a lion, you just have to outrun Tommy Little. How do you think you're going to go against him?
No, I've got no chance against him. He's actually surprisingly fast. He can stay out drinking and get up and run, which, is very annoying.
Impressive.
I can't do that. I need to be in bed by 7 just to get through 5K.
He's the real beast in Africa.
Yeah.
So what can we look forward to this year when it comes to our beanies?
Okay, so we've got the one you're wearing now. This is our unisex one. We've got an original... so the first ever beanie we brought out was a double pom-pom black one.
Yes.
And I brought out 5,000 of them. And I brought that back out as a nod to that from, 10 years ago. So that's great for this one there. It's good for the kids or for the mums as well. We've got caps as well for those parts of the country that will never wear a beanie because it's too hot. So there's something for everyone. You can get them online. They're on sale now. And they're in Decuba stores from tomorrow. And we had nights on the project, I don't know if you remember, when we sold out within an hour. I think one night we raised $5 million in an hour.
Yeah.
Like, you people are amazing. So I just wanted to come back on and say thank you. And also, please jump on and buy a beanie and help us smash records again.
Just on that, can I just do this very quickly? Pete and I watched you have almost total breakdowns arguing with your web guy, particularly to make sure all this was good. I just want to know, how's your web guy? Is he all
he's
right?
still a friend. He's still with us. We still have arguments. No, he's amazing. I remember one night it crashed. It was a big night for him. It was, but no crashes tonight. We're online and we're in business.
Exactly. Good.
Love you, Jace.
Good to hear.
And also big market with burglars.
Yeah,
Perfect.
Yeah, this looks less fundraising, more Crime Stoppers.
Hey, Carrie, it's so nice having you back on the panel. But for old time's sake, do you want to get over here and close the show?
Oh my God, am I moving to do it?
On.
Yes.
Come on.
Oh, Carrie.
There's no tricky names in the
Queen
auto. Okay.
Jumping, girl.
Welcome. That's a camera.
Hey, friend. To get your very own beanie for this awesome cause, go to carriesbeaniesforbraincancer.com. Would you please thank me?
Yeah.